Hello and welcome to Anatomy with Dr. P. In today's video, we're going to be looking at some of the structures that we can find in our thoracic cavity. Here we have our diaphragm, which is that muscle of respiration that helps separate the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity down below. Sitting in the center portion of our thoracic cavity, we have a space called the mediastinum. This is where our heart is going to be located, and we can see coming out of the superior aspect of the heart, we have our ascending aorta, and going into the heart, we have our superior vena cava. Now, if we recall from one of our previous videos, we know that the ascending aorta curves around at the aortic arch and then runs down behind the heart. So in order to see the descending aorta, what we're going to do is remove the heart out of the chest. So we'll pull it up and out. Now we can see behind the heart, here's our trachea. That's going to be supplying air down to our main bronchi or primary bronchi, a right and left main bronchus. Those are going to supply air to the lungs. So let's go ahead and remove our trachea out of the way. Behind the trachea, we can see here's our esophagus. That's going to be transporting food down to the stomach. And this large red vessel here is our descending aorta. Now, the descending aorta, we divide into two major sections depending on where it's running. Since this portion of the descending aorta is running through the thoracic cavity, we refer to it simply as the thoracic aorta. Now, to see the venous vessels behind here, we need to remove our esophagus and aorta. So if we pull these out of the way, we can now see our nervous system structures, our lymphatic structures, and venous structures that run along the posterior wall of the thoracic cavity. This lymphatic vessel here is known as the thoracic duct. That's going to be draining lymph from everywhere below the diaphragm and along the left side of the body, and returning it back up here to our left subclavian vein. The nervous system structures we can see are the sympathetic chain ganglion. That's going to be where our preganglionic and postganglionic sympathetic neurons synapse. And then we can see several veins. This vein here, which is over on the right side of the model, is known as the azygous vein. Azygous, A means without, zygous means mate or pair, so azygous means without pair. Now, this vein is interesting because it serves as an alternate way for blood to return to the right atrium. It's actually linking up to both the inferior and superior vena cava. So let's say that we have a blockage in our inferior vena cava. This is an alternate way that blood can flow from the lower regions of the body. It's also going to drain all of the thoracic body wall over here on the right side. On the left side of the model, here we can see our accessory azygous vein. That's going to drain from the 4th intercostal space down to the 8th intercostal space. And if we look just below that, we can see our hemiazygous vein. That means partial azygous or partially unpaired. The accessory azygous vein and the hemiazygous vein are essentially doing the same job as the azygous vein, just on the left side. And we can see right here, that's where they're crossing over to drain into our azygous.